What up, y'all? This is your Astrology Horoscope for Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Hope you guys are having a great week, and damn, it's already May. I can't believe it. We're 5 months in to the year. This is pretty crazy, and we have Pluto stationing to go retrograde tomorrow, Pluto in Aquarius. So we're going to see Pluto start to make its way back to the 29th degree of Capricorn for the last time forever. This moon is in Aquarius, being disposited by Uranus, post-Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We have Uranus dispositing Pluto, stationing to go retrograde. So, I think today is a big trigger point, and there can be some stressful things that come up. And definitely some things that need to be addressed. And I think not being so fixed and rooted and just, staying in one place, isn't the best idea. I think being able to make decisions on the fly and being able to move and make adjustments very quickly and trusting our instincts in which direction we want to take and how we respond to situations, I think is really important today. And, there's a lot of fixed energy, and this has kind of been a theme, really throughout February and March a lot. Every time we would have fixed planets come into, the moon come into a fixed sign, it would activate Pluto, and it would activate Uranus. And now that we're in Taurus season, it's like the intensity and the kind of pressure really gets activated on days like these, and it's really good, because I think the challenges that can come up, can really help us kind of look at, where we're kind of stuck and where maybe we've been kind of stubborn and not willing to make a change. I think this moon, is really calling us to look at things and analyze things from a more fourth dimensional perspective, instead of being so attached to the reality and only seeing it from your eyeballs, right? It's like you want to look at it in your mind and be able to look at the situation and observe it objectively, and that can really help us work through the kind of stress that can come up, because this Pluto stopping, with the moon that just activated Pluto yesterday, the moon squaring the sun, the moon will square Uranus and Jupiter. It's like, damn, some kind of shocking things can come up. And along with that, this Venus is still squaring Pluto. So it's just coming off of its square. But it's still there, Venus is at 2 degrees of Taurus, Pluto's at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So when it comes to our values and our beliefs and where we're stuck and where the connections just aren't really kind of aligning, this can really help us with some breakthroughs, some very well-needed breakthroughs. And Mars in Aries is ready to break through, and we felt this yesterday, and today is the trigger, right? So there could be some situations that come up that really force us to make adjustments and think on the fly and make moves and detach and not let the emotions kind of, take over. So I think with how things are starting to come together and the positive aspects of how the energy is really lightening up, more than it has been through the first few months of this year, this is a moment. Even though we're expanding in such a positive, beautiful way, nothing's ever perfect. And things always come up where we have to kind of solve problems, right? This moon in Aquarius, is a master at solving problems. Emotionally, in an emotional way of not really being so attached to the emotions, because the moon is ruled by Cancer, right? So when the moon's in Cancer, as strong and powerful as it can be, it's like sometimes the emotions can be overwhelming. But with this, Moon in Aquarius squaring the sun, it's just like, being fixed and rooted in your emotions and not being willing to just adapt and make a change and, shift directions and shift course when you have to and when things get a little intense, being stuck in where you're at isn't going to allow the real beautiful manifestation to really come through, because we are in the most benefic time of the year. So Venus is about done facing Pluto here, but I definitely think, we can really have some breakthroughs today. I think the breakthroughs can really come from, seeing things from a different perspective and seeing things in a light of like, wow, like, I didn't really understand that this was, because when we get stuck and fixed and rooted kind of in the same patterns over and over and over, we don't see the potential and the possibilities of how things can be different, how things can change, And that's what Aquarius always kind of triggers us to do, is really like when the pressure is on with Aquarius and Taurus and Uranus, it's really like, the same old things aren't going to work out anymore. Now we have to find a new way, and I've been feeling this over the past few days building up. I felt it yesterday big time, and other situations of like, like everybody else is doing the same old pattern and going through the same old loop, and the same outcomes keep, playing out over and over and over again. And, new opportunities are showing up in our lives, but these new opportunities that are showing up are only going to really grow and expand if you're willing to just not play the same old game and play the same old pattern, and take a risk, do something different and fully commit to it. Taurus fully commits, and the connection, between this moon and the sun today is a little off. And we felt that with Venus and Pluto yesterday, and it's still kind of there. And Venus is, wanting to get through this kind of friction here so it can fully embody it being in its ruler. So going through today and going through these, these motions or emotions or emotionlessness, right? This moon in Aquarius can be very kind of cold, but it can help us really break through and find new solutions, find new patterns, and also give us the confidence to just sever any sort of, loop that we can get caught in that just is giving you the same old outcome. This Jupiter-Uranus is being really activated today and going through tomorrow as well. And, the opportunities that are showing up, because we're all getting new opportunities, in different ways, whether they're actual real physical opportunities that are coming through in your career or your love life or financial opportunities, or even just internal opportunities with how our internal state is changing and how our neural pathways are changing based upon how the physical world is changing. Like there's new opportunities everywhere you look right now, but it's easy with this moon squaring the sun and Venus squaring Pluto to be like, I don't really see it. I don't really understand, what is really like playing out in a good way. It could be hard to see the bigger picture. It could be hard to see the larger outcome, because we can be so fixated on, the stress. And going into tomorrow, at the end of the night, it's like this moon's going to square Uranus. So we can definitely have some things that can really challenge us emotionally to really bring a new awareness and help us break through a wall of like, fuck, like that is not going to work anymore. That's been going on for too long, Taurus will keep doing the same thing, the same routine over and over and over and over and over. It's like the routine way of life is really being shaken up right now. And Pluto going retrograde is really going to break up your routine. And you want to allow it to break up your routine. Because if we can find, new ways and break through old patterns and not be so stuck and stubborn. This Jupiter-Uranus that we just went through, and Venus coming up here to activate Uranus and Jupiter and the sun, it's like, if you're willing to kind of go against the grain, you're going to see things manifest and come into your life, and your life expand in ways that you really didn't know was possible. And today is a big reminder, even when things do get a little stressful, and we're going to be feeling the pressure of Pluto, and, the vibe is very much, it's lightening up overall, with Mars in its ruler, Venus in its ruler. That's where the real wins are at, is knowing your value, increasing your value, staying in your lane, but also staying in your lane of not doing what everybody else is doing. That's Uranus and Taurus, and Taurus, really makes big wins when it sticks to something that is, working. So if things are not working or something isn't working, today's a day where it's going to really trigger you to really find a new and better way. But the things that are working and you have faith that are, working out, and you've been really staying in the same lane and on the right path, and you really have faith in that, which, Jupiter, it's like, with Jupiter, it's like faith is very important, Big things can only happen if you really believe and you really have faith. Jupiter rules our beliefs. So when you have faith and you really believe, things can really expand and really go to places that we really had no idea, But the challenges that come through today are really triggering us to really just kind of not play out the same old patterns, and Mercury is really starting to move towards Chiron. So how the energy with where our minds and our healing is associated with, it's like, seeing the bigger picture, but also like seeing ourselves in a whole new light. Like, we're starting to see the version and the person that we've kind of, only been able to project psychologically, especially with going through heavy, dense Neptune transits. Like, we've only been able to see it within our minds, within our subconscious. Now, like, that version of ourselves that's really transforming, and the worth and the self-worth and how our values are really increasing in an exponential way. Once Mercury starts gaining speed and comes out of shadow, it's like we're going to be able to see ourselves in a whole new light, and look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, I'm not the same person. I have leveled up big time, But we have to allow kind of the stress and the friction that's coming through today to really give us this whole new insight and this new awareness of, not being stuck. Because when you just play out the same pattern over and over and over, like that's what insanity is, right? That's what the definition of insane is. And it's very Neptunian. It's just the same loop, over and over and over. And Taurus has no problem doing that, right? So that's why Uranus and Taurus could be very uncomfortable. But it's always helping you get to a better place of, finding new ways of being more secure in our physical and material life, right? So this moon triggering Uranus with Pluto going retrograde, it's like, man, there can be some very deep, intense uprisings of like, fuck, like I really have to make a change. I really got to do things differently and not be so scared to take a risk and try new things. If you're willing to take a risk and try new things, you're going to win right now. Those are the ones who are winning, Being stuck and doing the same old shit, like, you're just going to, keep playing out this matrix, so to say, right? And we're going to be we're going to be going through the whole Pluto Capricorn thing for one last time. So on a 3D matrix level, it's like we're still not done. We're still not done breaking it down. So as we're going through these transits and Jupiter and Uranus is expanding our individual lives in a material way, bringing in more opportunities to create more security in your life, to create more financial security in your life. Like, that's what Jupiter and Uranus is doing for us. As long as you're willing to not just do the same thing over and over and over. It doesn't mean, oh, I got to quit my job and get a new job. It's like, it could just be internal. It really depends on where it's happening in your chart. But overall, it's like any place where you feel like you're bored, you're stuck, you're getting the same results and nothing's changing, allow today and allow the friction of today to really help you find new solutions, But if you get too attached to the emotions, you get too attached to the feelings of when the stress comes up and things bubble up in, intense ways, you get too attached and you latch onto that too much, you're going to miss out on the opportunities of being able to make those changes. And if we can make big changes and really harness that strength of Mars and Aries now, of being able to just penetrate and just trailblaze and pioneer new ways of doing things, no matter what level it is, whether you're creating a new technology that's going to reinvent the world, or you're just breaking old patterns and habits in your personal daily life, that can change and revolutionize your own life. If we can all do that as a collective, as this matrix is breaking down, as Pluto gets ready to go back into, 29 degrees of Capricorn for the last time forever, like, I really think like this is the moment where we're going to see massive cracks in what we are now kind of on a popular level calling the Matrix. It's not just a movie anymore. It is like, all this Aquarius Uranian energy and Pluto and Aquarius is like giving people this fourth dimensional perspective of looking at the whole thing and this whole system that we've been a part of, and a lot of people haven't been aware of until now, over the past few years, where people have really woken up to a lot of things, and what that's telling us is that we can't just keep going along with the same old shit. We can't keep doing the same old things in our own personal lives. We got to find new ways. It's like, okay, this group over here is just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and the same results keep happening. It's like, you know what? I'm going to take the risk and go over here and try this new idea. Those are the things that Jupiter and Uranus is going to expand and blow up in your life in a good way, in a positive way, and having faith and having strong belief in that idea or that new system or the new structure, the new way of doing things, it's really going to pay off in a material way. That's what Taurus is about, and Uranus is about going against the grain, doing things differently, and in a punk rock kind of way. Uranus is that punk rock kind of energy. We got the 5 of Cups today, so it's like we have to leave old things behind. We have to take what's valuable. We have to take, what we truly love and what is truly ours and connected to our hearts and connected to our souls, but we have to leave the old shit, right? And the friction and the challenges that come up today, it's like, it's only allowing us to get to a better place. And it's allowing us to finally see where we've been stuck. Because a lot of the times we get stuck in these loops, we get stuck in these patterns, and we're just holding on to things, and we're not willing to let go, kind of like that Taurus. The dark side of Taurus is like hoarding, right? Like whether you're hoarding possessions or physical possessions, but also hoarding emotions, hoarding feelings, hoarding, anything. It doesn't matter. So it's like with the 5 of Cups, it's like we have to like take only what matters, only what's important, especially with this time that we're moving through. It's like, carrying on and doing the same old shit over and over and over and over again. It's like, it's just dead weight, It's So whatever's feeling like dead weight, I think today is really going to trigger you to really like look at things and be like, okay, this is really what's been holding me down, holding me back. And with Mercury getting closer to coming out of shadow, those things are only going to become more clear. And I think too, it's like that's really where a lot of the trauma and a lot of the wounds, and a lot of the pain and a lot of the suffering that Chiron can really, Chiron's been exposing within ourselves and in our identity and especially in our relationships. It's like, damn, like, there can definitely be some power struggles with Venus and Pluto in our relationships. But like when those power struggles come up, it's like, hey, we have to do things differently. Like the reason why is because we're just holding on to things that really weren't working in the first place. So finding new solutions, breaking through old patterns, I think is the theme today, and if we can do that, Mars is really going to ignite some new inspiration in our lives, and Jupiter and Uranus is going to expand. Jupiter and Uranus is going to expand for all the ones who are just not willing to play along with the same old song, right? It's like we got to write a new song. We have to write a new tune. We have to march to the beat of our own drum. And that's what Aquarius is all about. That's what Uranus is all about. And today is a big reminder of that. And if we could do that, we can harness the power of this Jupiter-Uranus in a very unique way. It's like expressing your own unique identity as well. Like that's Aquarius. I know Aquarius is all about, the group and we're all together and it's like we're all, but at the same time, it's like, Aquarius wants to express itself in ways that no one else has done it before. Aquarius always wants to do things that no one else is doing, but also for the whole purpose to bring people together, to help humanity or help the communities that we're in or the community that we're in or the people that we're connected to or just, the friends that really matter in life, And it's like that Five of Cups. It's like if there's people who, are in your life that aren't holding up or giving back or, anything of that nature, it's like this is the moment where things have to be discussed and decisions have to be made of what's going forward with us and what's going to be left behind, because we can't just take everything with it. And I know with Taurus energy and being in Taurus season and even with Venus in Taurus, it's like, oh, I just want to have everything. I want to experience all the things, and that's great. But, sometimes we have to allow things to just be memories, right? So, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. I can't believe we're already in May. Tomorrow Pluto's going retrograde. So, timelines are changing, and maybe going back to timelines where things haven't really fully been resolved, So, I wish you all the best, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.